Semi-cooperative. It's a word that's thrown around quite a lot, and we're going to talk about what it means and the different things it can mean coming up. Hi, I'm Tarrant.
And I'm Stella from Meeple University. Today we have a very interesting topic that Tarrant brought up. Well, for us, semi-cooperative.
Semi-cooperative. Mm-hmm. So it's a word that means a lot of different things.
Correct.
To a lot of different people, and you hear the term around quite a bit.
This is for board games, obviously.
For board games, yeah. And it's sort of it's a new thing, really. You had competitive games, you had cooperative games, and the last few years has been the rise of the semi-cooperative game. But what actually does it mean?
What does that mean, Tarrant?
Well, what does it mean to you? If I say semi-cooperative, what sort of game comes most to mind?
Sort of game or the games that I've played that's semi-cooperative?
Well, I think, because that's the thing, I feel it covers a fair range of different mechanics.
That's true. I mean, semi-cooperative means that I would think that it covers the goal of the game, whether you win on your own or you win with the rest of the players. So semi-cooperative means that you win, essentially you win still on your own. You can be the only winner, but can also win with others. So it's very broad.
Yeah, it's exactly. For me, I think when I think semi-cooperative, my first instinct is a game that has a common lose condition for all players, where the players need to do some level of cooperative work, or some level of work which doesn't necessarily benefit their game that much, to make sure that someone can win. If you say semi-co-op, that's what strikes me the most. And
let's bring up some games.
Yeah, so bring some games. So these are a few examples of games that I think hit that sort of mark. So like Martin Wallace's Australia. Everyone is in it for themselves. They're doing the sorts of actions that will help them to win the game and get the most points. But collectively, the team needs to essentially, I mean, it's sort of the way it's set up, it's you're competing against an AI. But really, the way it plays is that the team needs to cooperatively fight the great ones as well. Because if the great old ones, ever totally breaks through and destroys someone's port anywhere near the very end of the game, then the old ones just will have all the points and they will smash the human players. So this really does, you have to play cooperatively, but also find where you can get points to be the winner. So this one, plays like a co-op. It plays half like a co-op and half like a competitive. And it has a common lose condition.
But I feel like this is a tough one. And this reminds me of Dwarf Winter, actually.
Yeah.
That is... the common objective is quite tough to reach.
Yeah. Yeah, Dwarf Winter, it caught us by surprise a little bit when we first played that. It was really... We tried to score... We spent time scoring points and just got destroyed by the invaders.
Yeah, we really have to work together very well, but yet you have to focus on your goal as well. It's really tough. Yep. It's really good though.
Yeah, another one like that is Vitalis' CO2. We actually haven't played the semi-cooperative version of this game.
We play the fully cooperative.
Yeah, but I have certainly seen testimonies that you have to work extremely hard cooperatively to beat the game, especially the first edition. And you will be getting points along the way and someone will win. So it's almost, when you get to those when you get a game like this where it's hard to win cooperatively, but it's semi-cooperative, it's not for me. I really would. If it's going to be semi-cooperative, it should be
Easily
relatively easy
Yeah,
to win
yeah,
the game, and that's where I think this is my favourite in that type of game. Robin Hood and the Merry Men by the
Final Frontier Games.
friendly guys from Final Frontier.
Yeah.
This game is. I think when I solo played it with 4 players, I got beaten, and because the dice rolled against me or something like that. But essentially, you're out there. You can build a little engine that. It's all about protecting the castle from all the taxes coming in. So there's a few different ways that the team can collectively lose, but all the things that you are doing to stop that from happening, you Euro style engine build towards it, so that you've got the capability to defeat it, and you're getting points for doing them. And then there's a couple of little things on the side, a couple of little private objectives that don't help the common objective, and you've got to pick the right time to go and do those.
It's really good, that bit. It's not that hard. It's kind of like, okay, there's like little bits and pieces, a little goal that you need to achieve.
Yeah. That to me is the co-op style semi-co-op.
That fits into what you think of semi-co-op.
It fits for, like, all of these are what I would first go to for semi-co-op, but for me, for it to work as a semi-co-op, it needs to be not that hard to cooperatively win the game. Like, if you were to play the game cooperatively, it should be too easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, at any point, if you think of something, write in the comment section, or you want to wait until the end of the video or whatever, just write in the comment section. I want to know what you think as well. As a gamer, as a player, gamer, or as a board game designer, publisher, whatever you are, write in the comment section. I'd like to know, like, from different perspective as well, with the building process, or, do you like this sort of game? You don't like it? What works? What doesn't work? You've got more games to come.
It would be tough. I reckon it would be really tough to design a semi-co-op as well. And I think part of the difficulty with doing it is, I just said my opinion on how easy or hard I think it should be, but that might be not what you're trying to do.
Yeah, maybe the design it's so hard. Yeah, could be.
But the biggest thing is, I think, knowing how, if you go into a semi-co-op game knowing how easy or hard it would be to win cooperatively, that helps. Because the Dwarfs Winter example comes straight back. We went back a second time and couldn't beat it cooperatively.
Luckily, it's a quick game.
True.
It's like, if it's going to be really hard to beat, it might as well be just fully cooperative, right? Like Nemo Wars, it's a hard one to beat. Because it's a long game as well.
Yeah.
It's solo. Sorry, it's actually solo mainly, but there are variants for more than one player. But I think best to play solo.
That's right. Yeah, it's managing the different positions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So what's next? You have that, Tarrant?
I think the other other type of game that strikes me as semi-cooperative. And it's not the first one I go to, but I think it's the other major style, is, I guess, what I'd call a survival game, maybe.
They all are, yeah.
It's the sort of game where there is a common lose condition, but each player has an individual win condition, and there's usually a traitor as well. So maybe I'll sometimes call these traitor games.
Yeah.
They don't all have a specific traitor. I mean, Dead of Winter is here. That's very much a traitor game.
Oh, yeah.
You've got a collective objective. Each player has an individual objective, which drives them to do strange, things that aren't helpful to the. Let me say, I mean, this is the Crossroads game.
Yes.
That's essentially what it is, and it's the whole thing comes together because there's a traitor who will be doing things to harm the common objective. But each individual player also has to complete something that is not the core objective in order to win. So that can make them look like traitors.
Oh, yeah. I love that mechanics. It makes them easier for the traitor to kind of hide between non-traitor players.
Yeah. And so you end up with with the sort of deception type thing going on, and each player has
There might
their
not be
own-
a traitor.
and there
As
may
well,
not even
yeah.
be a traitor. Each player has their own win or lose condition,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it's a different style of game. It's I don't think I've ever seen a Euro in this style. They're generally your thematic, dice rolling random, see what happens sort
Is
of
this a
thing.
Euro though? It's kind of a Euro.
I don't think it. No, you're not
Yeah.
really. You're not building engines. You're not
Mm-hmm.
gaining resources. It's very much a theme driven
Mm-hmm.
game.
It's I think it's different game when you play Dead of Winter without the hidden traitor, like fully co-op, than with potentially there's a semi co-op. I think it's more interesting. It gives that edge where, okay, that person's might be and might not be. I might get accused of a traitor even though I don't, and at the end it might not be. But
Yeah, it's a funny one actually because I've played this game twice, and both times, I was never a big social deduction fan, and I think the first time I was playing with people who hadn't played a lot of games, and so both times we took the wuss option. We said, all right, well, we'll play it fully cooperatively. We won't use a traitor, but the game kind of is boring if you do it that way because the objective isn't that hard, at least not in the early scenarios. It's not that hard to beat the game cooperatively. And when everyone was pulling in the same direction, it was hard to feel that urgency to complete your own objective as well.
That's true, actually.
And so we hadn't... people were kind of not that interested in doing that as well. For this game to really work, and it kind of comes together, is, you've got to have that tension of the private objectives.
Totally.
One which doesn't have that secrecy but has that same sort of thing is Deranged, which is, I think, is it out or is it coming out? I can't remember.
I can't. This is actually a prototype copy. I think it's out. I think. Yeah.
Deranged, it almost felt like a throwback to like 80s or 90s games because it was kind of...
Maybe the artwork as well. Kind of like that style. I love the artwork of that one.
Yeah, that's a nice one. But, your objective, you have to survive 3 days, 3 nights. And I think, did you have a private objective to do? I can't remember. But at the end of the game, you've got to get back
You've got to reach something on your...
That's right. You've got a curse.
Yes.
You start the game with a curse. Everyone can see a curse, and you've got to go to a certain location and discard an item or do a thing somewhere to get rid of that curse. But then, as the game goes on, people randomly become deranged monsters.
That was so fun.
The only way to not be deranged anymore is to kill another player. And if a player is killed, then they get a curse that they then have to go and fix. So it injects... There's no secrecy about it.
Yeah.
It just injects this pure anything can happen vibe. And you just have to kind of roll with it and respond to it. So as a semi-co-op where anywhere between 0 and all players can win, this was a really fun game.
I think in our playing group as well, I remember one of our friends was trying to convince so hard for the other person to do this, to kill the other person, not himself. It was so hilarious. Because of this and this reason. And I will help you. It doesn't mean they'll won't stab us in the back. That was funny.
Yep, and then another one, this was a Kickstarter a few years ago this is called Critters Below. This is a survival game as well. So all of these tend to be like light co-op survivals. This one was a bunch of critters in a dark bunker, and you have to survive for somewhere between 8 and 12 rounds, I think it was. And the winner is the first person to escape the bunker at a time where the nuclear fallout has subsided. And while you're in the bunker, you can get... I think there's a mechanism where you've got wounds in your hand and you can like bring more wounds in if you pick up items that are bad, and you can shuffle items around. And there's the rulebook doesn't actually explain it thematically. You have to kind of read the cards to see it thematically, but
Yes.
essentially hunger is a problem, and there's not very many food tins in here. But each time a character dies, according to the rulebook, when a character dies, you put their items and 1 tin of food card onto the deck. So in other words, that character is up for grabs.
No, that's actually the character's backpack food supply up for grab. Not the characters turn into cannibalism. Anyways, you can interpret it like in many different ways.
So you end up with a situation where multiple players can win, even everyone can win, but you kind of need to get rid of a few people so that the rest can survive. It adds all this this underlying layer of what is, I mean, it's not quite social deduction. It could be social deduction, but we have more fun with it as a storytelling game as well. And Deranged is a little bit like that as well, but on a board. So for me, those are your two basic semi-co-op styles. And the first one, which is plays like a co-op, but it has a winner. That's what I really think of as semi-co-op. And then the second type, the multiple winners, the traitor game. Like, this is not strictly a traitor game, but it kind of plays like that. That's the other.
Yeah, it turns out like that. There's also a game where it's cooperative, but then there's a point or something system that if you reach the most point, then you win. Or, I can't think of a game. I have played it, I just can't think of it. You mentioned it earlier. Not in this video, but outside the video. What is that? Maybe just put in the comment section any other semi-cooperative game that you've played that you think it's worth mentioning and why. Don't be shy. Put in the comment sections. And
then I guess you've got the, you got Betrayal.
Yes.
At the house on the hill.
Yeah.
Obviously,
it's a different thing.
That's, it's pretty much a sandbox at the start, and then it turns into, well, is that a semi-co-op? I guess it probably isn't. It becomes a one versus many. Yeah, I'll scratch that from the list.
Yeah.
You know, one that is
one
that's got a similarity to it that I quite like. We haven't been able to play it semi-co-op because we only had 2 people, but Solar Storm was. I really liked the semi-co-op mechanic in that. It's basically a pandemic style cooperative game. And you go around your ship and you've got to fix the ship and get all the bits together, and it's, it plays very much like Pandemic in that style of game. But once you get to the second, I think you have to redirect 8 power cores or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Once 7 of them are redirected.
There's a fix and, yeah.
So once 7 of them are redirected and you're getting really close, because obviously everything's escalating as the game goes on, if you think that the team is going to lose, you can just jump in the escape pod and leave them behind. But then the escape pod kind of breaks a little bit as well. And so if everyone else can finish the game before your escape pod explodes, well, basically if they don't finish the game and your escape pod doesn't explode, then you win the game. So it's kind of a, I'm betting on you guys to lose.
Yeah.
So.
It's as an optional thing that you can do.
Yeah, optional add-on to the game. It's not for everyone, but it's a nice little setting.
I know, that's like genius, really. So what do you have there, Tarrant?
I've got the other example I've got, and I only bring this because I think the word semi-co-op is thrown around very liberally.
Yeah.
This
is mainly non-cooperative game. It's competitive game with a little bit of cooperative element to it.
Yeah, I would consider this a competitive game with shared incentive.
Shared incentive is actually, you're right. So it's not really that objective. We've got the quick how to play video for this one if you're interested. It's quite, it's a card game, so you can see it's a small box. It's quite an interesting game with that element.
Yeah, and I mean this is one. I mean shared incentive. There's a lot of it around. This one you need
shared punishment.
Yeah, can be as well. Yeah. I mean this one you need to. If someone goes and fights the monster, then they get a small reward and everyone else gets their actions. If someone doesn't fight the monster, then everyone gets a collective punishment. So you might be giving someone a better action, and they'll get something more out of it, and you'll get your small reward. But you've got to sort of work out what works best from you. So this one, I don't consider this semi-cooperative.
Yeah.
I did use the term semi-cooperative in our video for it.
But you were
But for
just
me, it's-
describing just that particular.
Yeah, that particular element does have, I mean, and you look at, most of Vital Lacerda's games are scored on a shared incentive basis. That doesn't make them semi-cooperative. It makes them,
It's just
not
like
for me anyway.
It's just like a prisoner dilemma. There's a term for it where it incentivize the other player to do certain things that benefits all players. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think you can have a game with a semi-cooperative element, but it doesn't make it semi-cooperative, and that's an example of that.
True. So what do you think? Again, let us know. Samples of games. What do you think of those semi-cooperative games? We'd like to know, and I'll get back to you.
Yeah, they're a tough balance. There's definitely, I've had a lot of bad experiences playing semi-co-ops that just didn't balance right, or the Dwarf Winter example that we just got destroyed because the cooperative bit of it was so much harder than we expected.
That's because we didn't really expect it. It's like it's really nice, cute artwork, and then
That belied the complexity of the game actually. So that is the biggest challenge, is that you don't, unless you know how competitively to play it, where to be on the spectrum of co-op and competitive, you could just not have the experience that the game was intended to be at all.
Absolutely. So hopefully you enjoy that, and if you do, please hit that like button and subscribe to us if you haven't already done so. We do a lot of videos like this one, or there's how to play, playthrough, overview and so on, and live playthrough on the weekends. We also are on the Dice Tower. If you ever seen us there, say hi as well. And it will help us if you can hit that subscribe button, that name on the corner in there, and then hit the bell so you get notification. And I'm also on social media. What is it? Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. So hopefully I'll chat to you there too. And hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye.